I'm gonna restart.
Problem.
Good,
There we go.
man. It's good. It's good. It's good. How are you?
Hell yeah, not bad. Not bad.
Nice. How was your wedding?
It was good. It was nice. Simple. It was just super hot. It was all outdoors and in the middle of the day and a little bit of shade, but it was like 100 degrees. So kind of a bummer in that sense, like wearing a full suit basically
Oh
outside
gosh. Who
all
is this
day.
for?
And
Who is this for?
my sister, um,
Oh, nice. Oh
so
yeah, okay.
I mean, it was, worth it for seeing a little bit of family that came into town and stuff, but it was really only about 25 people or so.
All right.
Really short and simple, and yeah, it's kind of a whole thing, but it was not bad. It was nice to be able to catch up with a few different relatives and stuff.
Nice. Nice.
So yeah.
Cool. Cool, cool. Okay, man, I've had kind of a lot on my, well, I mean, like everything else. It's been a few days since we've talked, but um
Yeah, how are things?
it's good, man. I had an interesting conversation last week with Matthew, which is the my partner with at the IMO.
Mm. Hmm.
And basically he kind of just was like, hey, he made a call. I don't even know the best way of putting it. He was like, listen, seems like you're kind of in a little bit of analysis paralysis. He didn't actually say this at all, but this is the
Sure.
summary of it. And just basically, he's like, listen, I think you should do one of two things. One, you should either don't worry about selling the system, don't worry about leads, don't worry about anything, just hyper focus on selling insurance, or you just hyper focus on building an agency.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, actually, that, it's like, that's,
Sorry.
is that me?
Yep. Just checking through the reel. I was just making sure I had the right one pulled up, but um
um, So basically,
like
and
a
so I
one
was
or the
like,
other.
okay, yeah. And not just that part of it too. He's like, well, and he's like, part of the reason I called, he's like, is because we've been turning agents away. And he's like, and I kind of
Mm.
want to be sending them to you. But if we do
Mm.
this, he's like, I kind of, I don't want to be sending people if you're not in this position.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, this is totally fine. Like this is, actually probably a good place to just be. It gives me something to focus on.
Yeah.
Um, but
Damn,
I
well
also,
that's yeah,
yeah,
that's could be really good then. I mean, that's
yeah,
fucking solves one of the problems right there. I mean, at least for finding agents, but I could see yeah why he would want to make sure you're all in mentally on yeah, either just agents or just policies.
yeah, yeah. And he sent me an agent over. So I had like an interview with this guy.
Mm,
We talked for a bit. He's contracted. So,
mm,
yeah.
dude, hell
So
yeah.
that's kind of was just like, it was kind of like, we should, that's okay. Yeah, that seems about right. And then it was just kind of like, boom. And my mind, the way my mind works, it was actually been nice. And think this is a good sign where I started, kind of thinking about it, at first panicky because I was like, fuck, man, I don't know if it's like whatever. And he was good, because I told him all my concerns and I wish I would have got it recorded, but it was only over the phone.
Mm,
But anyway, he's like, we both, I think, suffer from a lot of imposter syndrome. And he was just saying, he's like, more than any of these guys do. He's like, you have more figured out. There are more resources.
damn.
Um, yeah.
I
And
mean, the confirmation you get all the time I mean, it sounds like it anyways. Every time you do one of these, like everybody's like, "Oh, wow, yeah, you're actually really onto it."
yeah,
Yeah,
as far as at least, yeah, at least as far as
helping out agents and
helping out, yeah, even
yeah.
if no, so anyway, so my mind has kind of been going in that direction a ton, which has been great.
Hmm.
Also, so I canceled like a bunch of meetings last week as far as lead generation and stuff like that because I'm just
Mm-hmm.
going to really try to focus on the agents that I have right now and
Yeah,
kind of
the
figuring this
agency
out.
side of it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So,
dude. Okay, nice.
and definitely still leads. Actually, this has been kind of the fun thing because I've been thinking about it a lot and I'm still very much thinking about it because I need to actually go in here and look at the training that TR Kings already has. Did you get a chance to look at that by chance?
Yeah, I didn't
Start
go
it.
through I didn't go through the whole thing. I did start it, but I didn't
Oh,
finish it.
oh
But
shit.
I mean,
Okay.
dude, it is big, it's super thorough.
It
Even those
is.
first
Yeah.
couple of lessons, I mean, it just felt like again, it was kind of, I don't want to say I was breezing through it, but like a lot of the things were just familiar concepts that either we'd talked about multiple times, or I just remembered just having those notes or those PDF files from the just the training course we have to take kind of thing. But I mean, it was definitely encouraging to see something, just some sort of organized, condensed information that actually took the industries, took some of these topics seriously and really made it scalable for an agent, or
Yeah.
digestible, I guess
Yeah.
is probably a better word. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I will definitely go through and finish the rest of it.
It's no, well, that's okay. And actually, because the thing I just kind of wanted it, I gotta now. So this is the thing too. Now this is the stuff I have to start figuring out is like, okay, the training, not that there isn't already training, but how are we going to go about going through it together? Because I do want to
Yeah.
kind of, I'm glad you looked through it, but I do want to systematically, like, I want to meet, I really do want to put training in here, not just being like, here's tools, here's get after it, but
Right.
actually sit down. I want to focus on doing this with others and doing it as a team.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Um, as far as, because just having the support, and if we have three agents, and I will still spend time in here just seeing where we're at, but I am going to try to put most of my effort towards just having you guys be successful. um
Mhm.
but shit, where was I going with this? I think I forget now. I want to just talk about leads right now, but I do think that, yeah, just part of it, building it as a team, having support, going through kind of the same processes, like having, if we go through like, hey guys, this is how we're, let's try this approach to the script, or let's try this or that. And if we have three different people kind of
Yeah.
being like, hey, well, this is how things went for me, being able to kind of work together.
Yeah.
Um,
And dude, I mean that type of team, it sounds like anyways, and it feels like that type of team and agency. I think the fact you already have a couple of agents like you're talking to in addition to yourself and myself or whatever, like that type of team seems like easier to build, manifest, really put energy into than perhaps like starting a business, like, around, I mean, you already, I guess, have these partnerships and stuff, but I know at one point, like the idea or like the main thing you were trying to get off the ground is like business partners, a marketing manager, da 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 da, like all these other things. But it's like, if I just really focus on building an agency, I don't know. It seems like all I got to find is agents, and all we have to do is show up together and help each other grow, just doing typical agent shit. Like that's a different kind of team that might be a lot easier to manage and also be inspired by because we're all helping each other do the same thing essentially. Is I mean, it feels like anyways.
yeah, we'll
Not
see.
that you can't do both, obviously,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I've always kind of looked at them as two different teams, kind of,
yeah,
having
right.
a team of agents are kind of out there, and what you're referencing. Yeah, that
More of
was
a
a
business.
long time ago.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like it's a different era.
Yeah, so there's been so many transit. Yeah. And at the point right now, there's a million different ways that we can go. There's a million different options. This one fits the availability, and at this point in time, it's just, I got to do better at just getting in a direction and sticking in this one direction.
Yeah.
Um, and so I mean, so yeah, that doesn't really, so that has kind of
Well,
been
that
like a nice clarifying thing.
yeah, and that I mean that definitely solidifies. I think we even talked about that last time we met was like we wanted to start having regular
Yeah.
like just agent meetings anyways.
Yep.
So that's good to know that that will be now maybe including more of us than just you and I and Ben or something
Well,
like
yeah, the only thing is he's in North Carolina. So finding a
mm,
time where it's going to work for everybody. I mean, we'll figure this out, but
yeah,
and you guys are going to be and I'm going to have to go through now. So basically now I have a brand new job, and that's like building an agency, which I've never done before too, which is fine. I'm happy with this. But and also trying to do it differently than I have seen it done anywhere else.
yeah,
So me trying to figure out that balance of doing it as a team, but also giving individualized time.
yeah,
I got to sit down and fucking figure all this out.
yeah. And I mean you are partnered with somebody else who is an agency owner, right? Or I guess you were saying they don't deal with agencies, the people behind the IMO, TR King.
So I will get a lot of support for insurance and stuff like that. And
Okay.
but as far as they have not, like the IMO is a different business. It's kind of like the
Yeah.
difference between
A franchise and a
no, it's
own.
it's a different step in the system.
Oh,
So it's
right,
like the
right, right.
difference between like a warehouse and a freight company.
Mm,
It's
I
like,
like that
okay,
analogy.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, so they work very close together and they butt right up to each other, but like one runs a warehouse, one runs a bunch of semis and drivers. So it's like, yeah, do they know very much? And you'd be like, hey,
Logistics, right.
yeah, logistics. The warehouse driver could be like, hey, I know a lot about this and this is how I would do it on my end. But it's like, I don't know delivery drivers. I've never hired a delivery driver. I
Yeah.
hire warehouse managers. So that's kind
Interesting.
of, so they are the top of the chain. They
Yeah.
do not deal, they deal with tons of agencies, but they don't build agencies.
Right. Okay. Makes
That
sense.
doesn't mean, but they, it's still a super valuable resource for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but as far as the like onboarding agents and doing sales training, now granted, also it is kind of fucking crazy because that training that you've got is from my IMO.
Right. Yeah.
So
So
that's the
so they
other
could.
thing.
Yeah.
So they definitely have like a wealth of knowledge. And that's the other thing too. This is actually what Matt and I talked about. Matthew, I don't think he likes, I don't know. His I don't know if he likes Matt, and I always want to call him that. But this is what he was also talking about too. He's like, we already have training. You have a really strong IMO as far as building an agency. So like there's already tons of support. And that's the thing too, is I'm very confident with the IMO, even just this training alone. This training is better than I've been to 4 different IMOs, and none of them have even like any type of training, really.
Right.
They were just like, here, memorize scripts. So
Of course.
yeah,
Right.
so as far as kind of that, and I guess this is probably more of a podcast-esque video at the moment. I do kind of want to talk about videos, but I don't know if there's a lot in there. But
Yeah.
basically kind of where I'm at now is I need to figure out kind of the scheduling, the how are we regular scheduling, how are we going to do training. I would like his name's David. I definitely want to get him on here because I think this is an important
Yeah.
part of it. He also has sales experience.
Mm.
So he's done telesales and this type of stuff. So it'll be kind of, and I was super honest with him where we're at, which was also really fun. Just being like, listen, I'm not even going to fucking pretend.
Yeah. Right.
It's also nice to just be able to talk shit about the industry and have people just laugh. Uh,
People that get it.
People, and he's like, yeah, that kind of seems, yeah, it seems like you're describing what I've been seeing. I was like, dude, so I was like, listen, all I could, it's like I'm
The
not sitting,
confirmation.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I'm not sitting here telling you I have this figured out, but I am telling you like, oh, I'm trying.
I
We have
see
a
what the
lot of
problems
systems
are.
in places. There's tons of room to grow. There's really no commitment. I mean, there's very low commitment here as far as like I've got no contracts over you holding your
Yeah.
contracts, your carriers. My IMO won't hold them. So,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of nice to have a stranger of being like, somebody that just wanted in here being like, all right, well, I see what you got. I'll give you a chance.
Yeah.
Um,
Dude, I mean, that's that's fucking awesome. And so really what the benefit is of operating as an agent under an agency is just having this system to use, this
just
SaaS
having any,
system.
yeah, well, he just needed, first of all, you just have to have a place to get contracted. Like you
Mm,
have to have a place to get contracted. He contracted the IMO and they said it wasn't going to be a good fit, but they're like, hey, there's another agency that you can
mm,
check into. But this is kind of how it works, dude. People just kind of flood in here. Like they're like, I don't really know to go. And they go to the IMO. And that's why it's kind of nice because the IMO I'm working with doesn't want to work with new or independent agents. I sneaked in there barely and I don't know. And they remind me of that a lot, but I don't know
because you
how I got in there.
had the system.
I
You
think
came with something else. I mean,
I think that probably was part of it. But who knows? But I did kind of work out this cool thing where it was like, yeah, if the agents that don't meet us, we'll just send your way. And I'm like,
mhm.
well, that is actually kind of fucking sweet.
That actually kind of does nice. That is a nice dude. All
It,
right, that's dope.
um, so now I'm kind of really shifting into, and it's been exciting because I at first few days I was like, okay, man, it's like, all right, what am I gonna do? But it's really been fun to think about this because we do have training. the more and more I thought about this, I want to go through this training. I want to go through it with people, with the agents, and we'll kind of I want to come up with an actual step by step and a system, see what they teach. But also, I've been really excited to realize how I want to go about doing this.
Hmm.
And what I'm really going to work on, I think, at first, because we're in a very new situation, is I want to teach you guys how to generate leads, or at least
Mm.
how I know how to generate leads. Because this is one of the things too, is actually I want to approach this, and I shouldn't kill my speech now. I should wait for the other guys, but whatever.
Sure.
Kind of
We're
the
recording
whole
it. Just send it to him.
yeah, the whole idea is I really do, I've recognized I have imposter syndrome about like, I don't have a ton of sales experience, yada yada yada. I am pretty confident I have a lot more business experience, and not just
Yeah.
that. I'm also confident I look at this puzzle and I see the important parts of it. And the important parts aren't your sales skill, at least at the beginning. The important part is your access to leads. And so if we can really focus on, and this is kind of what I'm getting excited about. So I don't know, but exactly how this is going to go, but I really want to focus on teaching and figuring out how we generate leads.
Mm.
Because at first, none of us have. This is what the IMO I work with, their number is $5,400. Like that's how much you should come into this industry with.
Oh, right. You told me that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're going to have to try to figure out something different and be like, hey guys, there's lots of opportunities, but unless you have $5,400, or unless you want to buy old leads and just dial, we have to sit here and actually figure out how to generate our own leads. And there are options.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of ways of doing it, but that's kind of what I'm realizing. It's like, okay, and I know I can do that. I know the ways of getting about these processes,
Yeah.
and reaching out to these people and just going, building the Facebook and Instagram and or in LinkedIn and just being like, hey, even if you're not, oh, anyway. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I have to
Just rechannel and refocus and
refocus, which is
yeah.
at least all everybody has the training um
Yeah.
that they have, so we were able to go through it. But now I just am um I got to meet with Matthew tomorrow about contracting as far as commission levels
Mm.
and discuss that. But then other than that, it's kind of off to the races, which is kind of cool. But I was not, this time last week, this was not expecting what I would expect, not what I was expecting to be doing at
For
this
sh-
very moment.
yeah. Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, that's welcome to entrepreneur
I guess so. Yeah.
life.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, so
Okay.
that's I guess my kind of big update. I mean, same deal as far as still content, still wanting to go about the same ways. I have a few more shorts that I'll upload.
Okay.
I've been keeping an eye on them. I've been keeping up on comments and stuff. Some of them are,
Yeah.
dude, some of them
I
are
was just
popping off, dude.
yeah. Yeah, dude. No, I think no man,
For-
there it is still super weird like trying to figure out this algorithm like 1,000, 600, 600, 700, 600, 4, 2, 1, 3. It's like, what? I don't, but dude, for the most part, I mean, yeah, it's especially TikTok. I mean, things are just blowing up. So yeah, dude, I think, and we still have stuff to go through. So, I mean, that's not even all of it. Same with Instagram. LinkedIn, I haven't seen any really comments rolling in. The few
Okay,
times I've logged into it,
that's
but
okay. I
yeah,
mean that.
everything else, at least
Yeah,
it's there, you know?
yeah. That's some of the yeah. No, that's great. I mean, hey, we're making progress, and I think right now, I mean, hey, we're figuring it out. How many
Yeah.
do we have? Just ballpark. I think I just uploaded. I need to put them into the drive. I just did them last night, and I don't have them. I don't have any titles on them yet, but I think I
Okay.
I exported another 16 or 18 last night.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
The shorts. But I was thinking maybe we should slow it down to 3 a day and not 5 a day, just depending
3
on.
is what I've actually been doing,
Okay, great. Okay,
after
never
that
mind.
first day. Yeah.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Because I was just like, all right. Um,
Yeah.
okay, never mind
Um,
then.
yeah, no, that's been going smooth. I do have once we get through all the ones from this date, the ramble, long video,
Hmm.
um, I have the ones from I think, is it controlling leads? Yeah. Um, or I guess it's not controlling leads. It's, oh, the sales system ones. That's what it is.
Okay.
Um, Pretty much captioned and ready to go.
Okay.
Um,
And
but yeah,
any buts? Go ahead.
I guess it wasn't a but an and. I'm changing, I was just experimenting with it in this upload by date folder in the drive to see if I could change, if changing the color of the folder would like make a difference. And I figured I would do that for ones that I have finished. They've all been edited and uploaded. I just changed the folder color to green um, out of the ones that you uploaded. So like that folder 120620, fulfilling
Yeah,
life.
I'm looking at it. It's not green for me.
Oh, it's not?
Mm-mm.
Damn, does it not change it for everybody? Okay, well then that might not work. Yeah, I just hovered over organized and then change the folder color.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Yeah, we're gonna have to,
never mind then.
and the other thing too, which is also top on my list, which I'm gonna have to really figure out, and I'm gonna, so I'm kind of excited about this as far as the agency, but that also means I'm gonna have to rearrange. I'm gonna have to get back into like more of a regular schedule as far as editing and whatnot, because I have a bunch of these videos that are edited, but I haven't recorded the intros yet of the medium and the long videos.
Mm, hmm.
So we also have those as well that I'm getting ready to do, but I also, yeah,
Okay,
the shorts are kind of, the shorts the shorts are like the very first part of the process, because I just watch the whole thing, pull out the little ones that don't need the intros. The next one, there's like, okay, I kind of have to do a little explaining. Um,
sure.
but some of these long ones, yeah, dude, I'm excited. I mean, I keep getting, there are some like the ones I pulled out yesterday too. Uh, because there's some, I'm excited. I am, I'm pretty excited to see what can come from these, because and some of these I'm so surprised, not really so surprised, but yeah, you're right,
Dude, yeah.
no rhyme or reason, and some just are doing better, and they seem to kind of all be doing a little bit better and better, I think, more regularly. And
Yeah.
um but
Yeah.
then there are the ones that just are complete fucking nothings.
Yeah, dude, which I mean that I chalk up more to the algorithm more so than the content. Like I feel like those are the types of ones that we could go back and re-upload at a different time or date or whatever, and they would probably do just as well, if not better, than some of these other ones, you know.
And that's also something, if we get to a point, oh yeah, we already talked about that, but if we get to a point where, like, we don't have any ready to go, like, we can try doing that.
Yeah,
And just being,
exactly.
because it would, and this is exciting for me. This is half kind of, I didn't know what to expect. I expected kind of a
Yeah.
lot of this, just being like, all right, there's a lot of data here. At
Yeah,
least we know what ones are work and what
right.
ones people are finding interesting.
Exactly. Yeah, dude,
um
and what I'm really excited for is to like just have the opportunity to cross-reference all these different platforms and see like which video across all of them got over 1,000 views, you know, or whatever it is. Like, because dude, yeah, there's a few of them that I'm like, oh, looks like this is actually not just a matter of the algorithm, but it got consistently over 600 views.
yeah,
Or at least like I think this it's time to make money on the internet was one of them where all three platforms had a lot. Um,
this one with alcohol is doing pretty good.
yeah, which makes sense. I mean, relatability, I would assume.
Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
mean, it's definitely, yeah, no support for entrepreneur. Yeah, there's a few, which is, dude,
yeah,
and
that was
buddy,
the whole idea.
we've been doing this for like a week.
Yeah, exactly.
In a
Haven't
week we
even,
have several thousand views.
yeah,
Several thousand, my man. That's pretty
yeah,
exciting.
dude. I mean, I am definitely stoked about that. It's pretty crazy,
uh,
how well that can work. And honestly, I haven't even been checking on Facebook because I am not logged into my phone, so I don't get the alerts. But I think you've been getting some replies and engagement on Facebook
some,
reels as well.
yeah, that one on alcohol, that one, I mean, just looking at it right now, the other ones got like, what is this one? 52.44, and the alcohol one is at
Oh
277.
shit. Damn. Damn.
So
That's
that yeah, so they're kind of, and then that one on TikTok is
hmm
at 715.
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah. And then where's the other one? Oh, YouTube. Was it on YouTube? I have been trying, man. Gosh, dude, always wearing a different hat, but I'm like, okay, social media, reply to comments. I got to stay on this. And also, it's kind of just fun to see what is happening. Um, it's also really interesting to see. I don't think that one's not on
YouTube.
YouTube yet.
I think it's because it's over a minute, that one.
Oh, I did much better on this last one.
Okay. Keeping them under.
The other thing that's interesting too is just seeing which ones get a lot of comments. Like
Yeah.
the book one got a lot of comments.
Yeah. That one I mean, yeah, same thing. I was just like, oh, I had no idea.
Same thing on Facebook.
Oh, really?
I think, yeah, I got like 3 or 4 comments on there, which,
Mm,
back from nothing.
yeah.
Um, and
Yeah, I'll have to
yeah,
follow up on LinkedIn just to be sure. But dude, yeah, on that front, I think we're still good. As far as content goes, with
okay,
everything. I have got, yeah, another set of videos to go once we get through these. What do you call it? The Ramble folder. Um, I've
okay,
got, I think, 2 more days of worth of videos.
okay.
Um,
I'm about to upload 18 more.
oh, sweet.
I have them right here. I just haven't gone through and titled them.
Okay, cool.
So I will.
You can even title them once you upload them to, I mean, you can title them wherever you want.
Yeah, it just kind of makes a little bit more sense because I just title them here and then I can upload them.
Yeah,
And then
they're
and
good to
titling
go.
takes like, I gotta watch every single one of them, so that's at least 20 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
But no biggie. I will have those up soon. Um, yeah, but I know also too, I also kind of have to now balance this, and my calendar is basically clear, other than
Mm,
just a couple of consult follow-ups. So should be good. And I'm still, my main focus is agency building, content creation, and then if there's a subcategory like lead generation,
mm.
um, just that's going to be the most important as far as agency building and just getting this rolling and getting, yeah, getting that
Yeah,
that going.
yeah.
Um, so
Sweet, dude. I mean, yeah, man, that's fucking good. Um,
yeah. So yeah, I don't want to take too much of your time because I'm going to be taking a ton more of your time. Um,
no, it's all good. Yeah, let me know whenever you want to start doing these
yeah.
insurance, more regular meetings and stuff. I'm going to get this E&O policy here as well. I think I want
Okay.
to look at a couple of places, I guess, and see how much they are, just a couple different policies, but I'll probably
Yeah.
just buy it for the year and then be good. And then upload it to
Hey, can I
this profile.
recommend you might I don't does that give you a discount?
Um, I'm not sure.
From a business standpoint, all I would say is from a cash flow standpoint,
Hmm.
don't because that's going to be like a couple $100 as
Hmm.
opposed to just like 40.
Mm.
Um, I would just say, you
Wait,
might
what do you
want,
mean? Like,
so you said you're just going to pay for the whole year.
yeah, that was what I
So
was.
instead of $40 a month, if it's 40, but that's a $480 purchase versus a $40 purchase. There are other
Mm.
things with your 450. I'm just saying
Oh,
you might
gotcha.
want to not want to just commit that much cash because
Yeah.
especially right now, there are things what cash could be used for in this endeavor other
Mm.
than just the next few months of licensing or insurance.
Oh, for sure. Okay. Um, Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I will definitely. It does say, I mean, just on this one website, which is right through the Sure LC, like going and getting an E&O policy through them. Uh, I have to put the option, the lowest option, which is just for the basic life, accident, and long-term care insurance, is 26 a month with $126 down. So, or it's $300 a year. Um, or I guess 350 it looks like.
But you still have to pay that 120, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Um, but I mean, so yeah, I guess it would save me still like $150 or a little more, like
That's
$200.
for sure. And I would just say, in this thing, now that I'm kind of playing agency owner and kind of big bird in this thing,
Yeah,
your cash, your cash is unbelievably fucking valuable
right.
right
For
now.
being able to
Right
buy
now.
leads and stuff.
Anything like that, buy leads, even buy pay advertising
Mm-hmm.
systems, anything like that, but there are just certain things where I would just be, and I'm not going to tell you what to do or what not, but
For sure.
um
No, that's
cash
a
flow
good.
is super, super important in especially at the very beginning. That's the biggest hurdle
Yeah.
we have right now is not having cash flow. And so just kind of, spending, buying things for long term,
Yeah.
there might be better uses for that.
Right. Okay. Good to know. Yeah, that's definitely good
If
to know.
Yeah, we're diving into it now as far as, it's yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's a very simple numbers game, and eventually too, I do want to talk about lead generation so we can figure this out and we can generate them. But the fact of the matter is, once you get to a point where you can afford to pay for them, even if that's marketing or
Hmm.
whatever it is, like just putting money towards that and being able
Hmm.
to do that to just perpetuate the system.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
until we get to that point, that's our limiting factor, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Okay. No,
um,
definitely makes sense. Okay. But that's good to know. And I imagine that starting off, I mean, I'm sure we'll go into it in more detail once we do some of these meetings, uh, agency stuff. But I
yeah.
imagine like starting off, it'll be just doing a lot of kind of like what you mentioned, just creating ads on Facebook and stuff and just doing it that way, just kind of getting leads through just some
Yeah,
basic sort of marketing platforms and stuff.
basically what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to bring a bunch of my ideas and everything that I know kind of how to generate leads, and I would like to, if we can together agree on a plan of attack, and I'll
Yeah.
definitely have some suggestions, but part of this too, and part of this as well, there's going to be lots of options. There will be certain things that I will
Mm.
just, basically, without being able to demand anything, but just be like, hey, get a LinkedIn, get a Facebook,
Hmm.
get these things, and start like every day, start requesting friends, going into these groups and starting to do these things and starting to just kind of build, every tool that we can,
Yeah.
and use the resources that we have, because there are other things too where, as an agency we have a giveaway for $1,000, like for anybody that's going to buy a policy, you can get $10,000.
Yeah.
That is something that right now we can come up with something where it's like, hey guys, let's make 15 posts, 50 posts, whatever posts a day on this thing in different
Yeah.
groups, and let's be putting out every line that we can.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of my ideas. And then the other thing is, I have some processes in place already. I would like to start propositioning or reaching out to, coming up with a plan and a way to start reaching out to business owners
Mm.
for and coming up with a strategy for that, because this is one of the things where, and this is why LinkedIn I think would be important, but
Hmm.
starting to just, these are the people where we can start reaching out on social media, we can start calling and we can start saying, starting these conversations, because you can cold call that way, and it's a
Yeah.
little bit easier business to business, and just getting
Mm.
into the habits, cold calling businesses. You start with the secretary or whoever it is, and we can come up with a plan. And some of my ideas would be like, hey, I'm calling because I wanted to talk to you about possibly reducing your taxes, and
Mm.
or anything like that. And we can do it because there's a plan in businesses called the 7702, which is just basically the tax code that you have to follow it's like the same shit as a normal life insurance policy. Like, hey, these are, but
Mm,
they're for the laws for business. So you say this, you can
mm,
do this, but then I also kind of want to build up. This is my plan, but I want to flesh this out more. Be able to call up a business owner and say, hey, I would like to talk to you about these things. Are you interested in talking about these things? First thing can be policies for them. The next kind of downsell or the next thing is a possible policies as benefits for their
the
employees,
group, right?
the group. But then the next thing, since we've already got them on the phone, we might as well ask them. This is the second group I want to be propositioning, is if they want to donate to local sports teams. And what we
Mm.
will do, because, and I got to figure out the details and like the eth, eth, ethical
Ethics.
ethics
Oh
of
yeah.
this, because what I also would like to do, and obviously no back and forth or nothing like this, but I would love to be able to come up with a way, and maybe it's too much, but since we've got the business owners on the phone, the very last downsell could be like, well, hey, we're also sponsoring. Part of what we're doing is we're trying to educate other demographics about life insurance, and we're doing it for sports teams, and we are going through and we are offering, fundraisers for anybody that books an appointment with us will get $20. Would you
Mm.
be interested in donating to that, um, as a tax write-up? It doesn't, I don't expect a lot from it, but at least
Yeah.
this is a way where we can practice propositioning.
Yeah.
So you either get, propositioning, script, downsells, and you've got one of four options here. Listen, do you want to buy anything? No. It's like, okay, well, I talked to you about taxes. The very last thing is like you can have a tax write-off if you want to donate some money to local schools. Well, what do you
Right.
mean by that? Well, this is what we're doing. We have a whole other program over here that we're giving all of the
Yeah.
money to schools over here. And what we do is we call them up and we just try to educate people, and we donate $20 for every meeting that we get.
Right.
Every bit of money that you get goes to the schools. And we can that's kind of one of my ideas. And then
Create an
obvious,
offer. Yeah.
create an offer for business owners. And
Right.
at the same time, I want to be figuring out, and so this, and well, I also want to be figuring out how to proposition schools, sports
Hmm.
teams, because football's starting to come up. Sport
Yeah.
fall or whatever fall sports are
Yeah.
starting to
Yeah.
come up, and so these are kind of my plans, because and even if we have some money, this is kind of why I was like, whoa, cash flow. Because if you can even be like, hey, I can put up a couple $100 for policy, like for booked appointments.
Yeah.
And here's my ideas, is because with the business owners, one, at least we can just cold call and we have opportunities, and those are big fish.
Hmm. Hmm.
Shit. The thing with sports teams, if we
Right.
can figure this out, if nothing else, if we can just get booked appointments, I am very confident if we can get booked appointments and we have
With
it
the
in such a
parents and
way with the
yeah.
parents, but like if we just work on, and that's like our goal, is figuring out like, hey, how do we get booked appointments? If we can do that for like $20, one, that's fucking incredible. But two, I bet you we can turn around and sell these for $60 a piece.
Right.
Um, Booked
Yeah.
appointments. So that's the other thing. So,
Yeah.
so those are the two avenues that I have. And I basically have automated funnels for both of those.
Mm.
But I want to start coming up with, or well, not necessarily the business owners, but these are
Yeah.
kind of the ideas. So that's kind of, I want to start the process of propositioning like that and learning how to just kind of getting on the phones, learning how to come up with a script. I also want to go through script writing,
Yeah.
like, and actually teach, like, hey guys, this is how the script writing goes.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
and as far as and I don't know the best way to say it. Other than I guess other than like scripted sort of propositions, I'm pretty confident like if we sit down, have a couple of these meetings and get really familiarized with just what that offer specifically is. I mean, even just the way you illustrated it now, I mean, I have a pretty clear picture of what it is in my mind. I already feel like I could be in contact with, I mean, we've already talked about a couple business owners, I guess, but sports teams, I'm pretty confident I could approach different people that I know, people that are either football coaches at some schools around here or just different athletic programs around here. So once I know what the offer is and what the script is, I can approach it from a
dude,
much less
dude,
cold
yeah,
a thing for sure.
perfect. And this is what I am super excited about. And this is what I want to get going. And I really, so one of the things too, and it's going to be a little tough with Ben, and we're just going to have to kind of figure
Yeah,
this out because Ben's already full time.
sure.
I don't think David has anything else going on. He's also 3 hours ahead of us. And I
Yeah.
obviously I don't really, it would be on
No,
it's obviously better to do this in the morning. Well,
yeah. I could meet anytime. I know that
yeah,
Ben works till 3 or 4 or whatever, so
yeah,
I know he's kind of the, but
yeah. And
don't worry about me as far as
okay.
scheduling.
And I might do the same thing. We might have to, we might have to
Yeah,
start a little bit earlier.
which is
I
fuck it.
know. That's why I said I'm gonna have to really like readjust. Well, maybe I wasn't telling you. I'm gonna have to get into a very different schedule.
For sure.
But because I do want to be able to like get together, do a little bit of pep talk, do some practice, do some objection handling, come together. Hey, how's it going for you? And the other thing too, my thoughts are, since none of you guys are licensed in anywhere else, let's figure this out. If we sell a couple of policies, we should get contracted in
Yeah,
the
each
opposite
other's
states,
states.
in each
Right.
other's states, and see, and as we're going here, see if there are certain weak strengths or weaknesses that other people have. If there's somebody that's really good on the phone, and somebody, if maybe there's a way where that person is just on the phone all the time, and the
Yeah.
other person is like figuring out what
Just
policies
like
work.
it's just like you said. I mean, you could have been getting paid just to book the appointments.
Yeah. And that's a whole,
Yeah,
exactly,
that could be its own
exactly.
skill, right?
Yeah. So that's also one of these things too that I want to explore. And I
Yeah.
don't know other people that do it this way, but I fundamentally think there are better ways of
Dude, I
doing it.
mean, it's
So
got to be that's got to be the case that within an agency, there's certain people that are stronger on the phone versus finding the right policies versus yeah, like
it's 100% because there are a lot of charismatic people that are just really good at talking and asking questions that aren't all that organized. And then there are other people that are like financial monsters or just product geniuses that can't
Mhm.
look somebody in the eye,
Right,
or like can't
right,
talk,
right.
so I'm trying to, and figuring out really like the best way, because honestly to do this all right and properly is a lot.
Yeah,
And then the
yeah,
other thing too is training you guys on my system, and then
yeah.
eventually once money starts coming in or whenever, like we'll get you all your own systems.
Hmm.
um because that once you get somebody on the phone, then you're just like, hey, let me just
Filling in
ask you all these
forms.
questions. Yeah, just filling in fucking forms.
Yeah,
So yeah, but
dude. All right.
um, so
So then,
that's yeah.
what? I guess you kind of said you kind of have to go back to the drawing board or whatever and figure it out. But
Uh,
I.
so next, if that's what you're asking, what I want to do,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm jumping the gun, but I'm
No, no,
excited, and you're helping me verbally process this, because what I was actually wanting to do first is kind of get together and go through the training. But if you guys have
Yeah,
already looked through it, I at least want to come back and revisit all of these lessons and at
yeah,
least talk about it and put my own input on it,
yeah, yeah.
and talk about it and really dive in, because here's the other thing too. So my approach is, one, I want to start getting everybody going on lead generation, because it's going to be at first a process,
Yeah, yeah,
and I don't expect a lot to come. And then once we just kind of get that idea and get these processes coming, then my steps are teaching you what I think is important to be an expert in this industry, as
mm,
far as just what kind of policies are out there, how do you structure a policy, where, like, oh, okay, if they're rich, what do we look at? How do we, like, what are the foundations? First is like, you always look for term and you try to always get living benefits. If you can't, then you progress this way. But basically, and just being
mm.
able to like
Best
answer
practices
questions.
and okay,
Yes, because
dealing with
part of it,
objections and
yeah. And at first, dealing with objections will kind of be a little bit later.
right.
Um,
Okay,
and because that's just almost tactics. That's
okay.
tactics. I want to worry about
The
what's the other
product
one?
first, like just
Yeah,
knowledge
yeah,
about
yeah.
the.
The knowledge. And if you become an expert and if you do understand these things,
You shouldn't need
objection
to.
handling
Yeah.
is like, it's not objection handling is like, that's like an art or a craft. But here's the thing: if you're just knowledgeable and if you
Yeah.
have a good script and you do this, like, any
And
objection,
if you have a good product, you shouldn't need, yeah, right.
yeah, and I'm not going to say objections don't happen. They're going to happen all the fucking time.
Right, right, right.
But it's not going to be, it's not like the magic potion. It's like when you get 10 or 15 people that ask that say, "Hey, I need to think about it." That's an objection, and then you just have to kind of be like, "Okay, and you try
Yes,
to
and
change these
right.
different things, but you'll learn, you'll figure this out." Like
Yeah.
objection training, and we'll go through all of that. But those are tactics. Before you even get to that point, I think it's very important that just one, you're comfortable going and talking to people, that you do just know what the hell you're talking about. And so like for me, like I fucking hated it when people like, here's something I'm trying to combat. I know I'm of two minds on this, because when I got in here, I wanted to know everything. I wanted to know
Mm,
everything before I talked to anybody about anything. And
right.
you can't do that because there's way too much to know. Like, and I thought
Yeah.
people were kind of like just stupid. And it's like, no, dude, there's literally no fucking way that you can know what people qualify for all of these different things and what the ratings are. There's just an absolute no way.
Yeah.
Um, so having that idea, but also not feeling unprepared.
Yeah, yeah, right.
I hated that. That is one of the worst feelings
Bake
I've
that into
ever
the
had,
agency
dude.
mantra. It will
Dude,
never make you feel unprepared.
I hated that. So
Yeah,
so there's definitely going to be a fine line of like,
for sure.
staying in your hobbit hole and being like, no, I just want to be a product expert, and being like, hey, no, just get out there, make phone calls, you know,
Yeah.
all objection training, dude. It's all the same objections of like, it's too expensive. I got to think about it. I got to talk to my spouse. I got to do this. You're going to handle them 50 fucking thousand times. Just start
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
to them. And
Yeah.
even if you do know how to handle them, you still fuck it up most of the time at first anyway, and you don't
Yeah.
sound natural. So it's
Yeah.
not, but I also do, on that note, want to do like a quick objection, at
For
least go
sure.
through it,
Role play or
have some
whatever. Yeah.
practicing, and throw some major curveballs at you so that like so you feel that deer in the headlight moment, and you're like, okay, well, at least you did it here, because
Yeah, right. Where it's safe.
where it's safe.
Yeah. Okay.
So
No, dude,
yeah,
that's awesome.
and I'm actually super duper excited about it because I have a ton of ideas. I'm excited to kind of dump all of the knowledge that I have gleaned.
Hmm.
Um, I just
Yeah.
now I'm like, okay, exactly. This wasn't exactly what I had planned last
Yeah,
week.
right. Well,
Um,
yeah.
and I've
But dude,
got,
that is
yeah,
super exciting. And I'm like, I mean, that sounds amazing. Like to just go through this and like figure it out kind of collectively and just like figure out what the best way to do it. And like, as far as just insurance, selling life insurance, but also just from the point of like, not just how the traditional way it's done, but like trying to do it better, at every way, at every point, from the training to the processes to the technology to the technique, like all of it, just sort of trying to embrace and embody like a new sales perspective or whatever you call it.
yeah,
That's what I mean, really, really eager about,
yeah,
so
man. Well, good. Music
yeah,
to my ears. Uh,
yeah.
because I'm excited about it too, and it does. And I needed a little bit of nudge, I think, from Matthew to get over some imposter syndrome.
Hmm.
And I think also too, I have to realize, I think, from here on out, I just have to really be okay with imposter syndrome, because like I don't know how to do,
Yeah,
and I'm not going to have the experience. And I think that's just where I have to become more and more comfortable with, of like,
yeah,
uh, you
yeah.
know, just
Mark Zuckerberg, I think, actually had, I just saw like a really good quote on that from him about imposter syndrome. Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was. I don't remember. It wasn't like a video. It was like just a graphic with some the phrase or whatever. And it was something like I am I am definitely an imposter. And so is everyone else who did something new and wild. Like or something like that. It was just like
okay,
it was kind of just a matter of owning it. It's like, yep,
bro.
I'm the biggest imposter. I mean, this was like probably years after Facebook was already super successful or whatever. But um, somebody asked him like, "How do you overcome it? Or did you ever experience?" He's like, "Oh, I still am. Still am an imposter. I have no business doing what I'm doing, but that's what it takes to be." It was something along those lines. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
basically, do
Okay.
have to be an imposter to be at a certain level of success, or whatever.
I Thanks. Thanks for sharing that, because even if
Yeah.
you're just totally making it up, it makes me feel good.
It might have not have been Mark Zuckerberg, but I know I saw that quote from
Yeah.
some successful tech entrepreneur. So, um,
Yeah, and this is the thing, and yeah, I'm kind of at that point where it's like, listen, and especially trying to do something new, it's like, well, of course, I'm not really going to have a lot of experience or examples doing this.
yeah,
But at the same time, then I come back to it,
all
and
the
I
more
was
reason
like,
to do it.
yeah, for sure. And then I start thinking about, okay, so I don't. It's because I haven't sold millions of dollars of insurance. I don't feel like this. But then I'm like, okay, but what are we really? What am I actually here to do? And I was like, okay, if I could teach you how to generate leads and all the different ways to do that, I was like, well, I don't really feel like an imposter like that, especially not in this industry.
Yeah, yeah,
And I know about business, and
right.
I know about work ethic.
Yeah,
So working
yeah.
through
And you have
it.
sold policies. I mean, you've sold more than zero. So
I have
it's not,
sold policy. I sold a
you did
policy
it the
last week.
shittiest way possible. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, dude.
yeah.
Yeah. Um,
And even something, and that was the thing and it was actually really exciting and great timing, because I sold a fully underwritten policy, which I've never done
mm,
before. And the
mm,
fact of the matter is it's like, well, all of this is very figure outable. Like the
mm.
insurance side of it, and that's the other thing too, because I was talking to
I like that
David.
phrase, figure outable. Just how, yeah.
But I was even talking with David, and he asked, like, how much insurance have you sold? And I said, not a lot, man. But
Mm,
what did I? Gosh, dang it, where was I going with that? I got stuck on for figure outable. But what I can tell you is I am also incredibly confident that I know exactly what it takes to sell a fuck ton of insurance, because it's ridiculously simple.
yeah,
And if that's what people want to do, I absolutely know that I have the resources to do that. All it
yeah.
takes, it's just a numbers game. If you want to sell, like if you want to make a ton of money, you just dial the phone a lot. You
You have
have
to
a
talk to
ton
a
of
lot of
appointments,
people.
talk
Yeah,
to a lot of people. It's unbelievably simple. So I'm also really
yeah,
confident that I can.
yeah,
It's stupid simple.
yeah. I just saw another video from the Johnny
Knit a fan,
Fan guy
yeah.
today. He interviewed somebody else, some other agent who's doing a lot. And it sounds, I mean, it is kind of getting to the point now where he says a lot of the same things in a lot of different videos, but it's good. It's good at the end of the day. Like you need to be reminded more than taught kind of thing. So, but it
Maybe,
is, yeah.
maybe I'm
I guess it depends on what the information is, but it is echoing kind of that same thing. Like it's really just dialing and dialing and dialing, and that's what does the trick.
and I think, and so that's, and honestly, even just more of just even like longevity or adding more to it, even if you can just learn how to generate your own leads, like one,
Yeah,
gives you something else to do, but two, keeps your
yeah,
costs down.
yeah,
And not just that too, just don't dial, having also a progression where it's like, once I'm in a plan, this is the other thing too, like
yeah.
where I want to help with folks is like, okay, if you want to get out of this, start getting live transfers. And
Mm,
my goal is not to just perpetuate this and make a ton of money. My goal is to make the best job in America and create the most fucking iconic badass agency out there, where people are like, this is like 5 steps above everything else, where the people just make unbelievable money and have phenomenal businesses, because we don't,
yeah,
it's like, oh, because this is the thing with Johnny and all of these other people, and that's fine. And I know I can talk a lot of shit and whatnot, but it's like, you guys all say the exact same shit. Every
yeah,
single person that has made any money in this industry has 3 things to fucking say: buy leads, dial them,
yeah,
repeat.
yeah,
Like it's insane.
yeah,
It is absolutely
yeah,
unbelievably fucking insane.
yeah,
And the other things about building a business, which nobody talks about, is like, learn how to get referrals.
yeah. That's the other thing about them, or I mean, probably any other agents is, yeah, the lack of business experience. Just like anybody who starts a business, like a bakery, probably really good at baking, probably
Yeah.
not so good at business,
Yeah.
most likely. So,
Yeah.
um, when, yeah, you
So
apply business expertise to an industry where profit margins are this good and things are this outdated, yeah, I think there's going to be some great things that come out of it.
yeah.
So
And even just being on a smarter way of just like, hey, if you make a little bit of money, go get a marketer.
yeah,
Run your own
reinvest it
ads.
in a different way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Don't just buy leads because they're making profit on you, and this is very easy to do. Go spend
Yeah.
some money, Go
Yeah.
spend a couple $1,000s, learn how to do it yourself, or just
Yeah.
get live transfer, do something different,
Yeah.
continue to progress and then learn
Right.
another one, get residuals, learn how to
Yeah.
cross sell,
Yeah.
learn how to do bigger and bigger policies, like keep growing, keep growing. There's so much more to this where all of the content out here is like, where's the best leads? How do you
Yeah.
get started in the industry? What's the
Right.
best script? And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, once you've mastered what takes 2 weeks, what else is there to do? Like,
Yeah. Right.
so,
Yeah. That's a good point.
because it's, yeah, and hopefully, and that's what I'm excited to dive into, because I
Yeah.
do feel like I have put quite a bit of effort into that and figuring out those steps.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude. No, I'm very excited, man. I think there's a lot of good. Dude, I'm just excited
Yeah,
to get in there and
great,
learn.
great. Well, maybe I'm gonna reach out to David, and maybe we can let's find a time where at least, if nothing else, I want you two to meet
For
early,
sure.
and
Oh,
I
right,
want
because
Ben
Ben
to
might
come.
be. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but because Ben's not gonna be home till like 4 o'clock, and
And I can make
uh
a weekend work too. I mean, if we have to do it on a day where Ben's off to make it easier or something. I don't know how
I'll
that
have to
looks,
figure
but
that out. Yeah, I'll have to figure it out because I do want, and this is what I mean by like, okay, these are like the figuring out parts of it.
yeah.
Is like, okay, how do I get three people that are over three different time zones, or 3 hours difference? How do we build a team like that? What does the timing look like? Because I also, David has a lot of sales experience. So I would
Mm,
also really like to just kind of pick his brain, and he could be a good resource of like, hey, what were your experiences? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Um, so I would also, it
yeah.
would be nice to have more minds in on that. And that's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to talk about.
Yeah.
And I would like to get it done sooner rather than later. At
For
least get it
sure.
started, because there's
Mm,
still, I don't want to wait till I have it all fucking figured out. I kind of wanted to be like, hey guys,
yeah.
this is what I'm
Let's
trying to
figure it
figure
out.
out. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so
Yeah, dude, no, that's awesome. And then I'm sure I'll have more proper questions for you by then,
yeah,
but I'm
any and all of them, and any suggestions. I mean, you basically got the first meeting already.
yeah, right. Yeah.
At least the
True.
the outline of what I'm trying to, what I'm looking to do. The
Yeah.
main thing really, get logged in. I would like to talk about some growth options as far as just spending money on technology, buying leads, different marketing approaches, being like, hey, let's get a plan of actually going in these directions. But first and foremost, let's come up with a plan that where we can start putting time every day into just generating appointments.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the actual crux of this thing.
Right. Yeah.
Because I promise, once you get somebody, especially in such a way, if you've generated an appointment where they know what the fuck they're calling, why you're talking to them.
Yeah, exactly. It's a much
Um,
different thing.
yeah. So, and that's the main thing. So be thinking about businesses and teams.
Hmm.
That's it. And then we'll come into this, and I'm excited about to kind of reverse engineering script writing, because
Right.
that's the other skill too,
I
where
like that.
it's because that's the other thing that I want to teach. These people just give out scripts, and it's like, I think if you learn how to write a script and you learn the process of being able to do that, that's just a whole other, man, because a script, and I know you
It's like
haven't.
the center thing, right? It's like that thing you described
Exactly.
last
The
time. It's
straight
like you want
line,
to keep
straight line
straight line.
method. Yes.
Yes.
And so the script is just like a great way. It's a pre-plan. You
It's a
don't,
good straight line to start with. Yeah.
yes. And the script is written to be ridiculously natural and
Hmm.
flow to exactly how you would talk and speak anyway. So
Yeah.
when people are like, oh, I don't want to do a script, I want to be able to pay attention, it's like, this literally takes the thought out of it. It
Hmm.
takes the thought out of this whole thing. And if you can figure out kind of how to do this beforehand and how to get very succinct in what you're trying to say, what you're trying to accomplish, that in and of itself is like another one of these skills where it's like, hey, I don't want to just give you the fish. I want to fucking show you how to fish yourself, teach you how to fish.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah,
I
okay,
like that.
yeah. And also give examples of scripts and shit like that. But
Yeah, no, and doing I think like you mentioned too, just doing like going through some scenarios, whether it's just role playing and making conversation or just even like just going through actual scenarios or even I mean honestly, dude, I've even just learned a few things just watching some of these other channels like just do
mhm.
cold calling live and it's like, oh, okay. I mean, even if your script is a little different, it's like I can see just generally how the conversations are supposed to go. And you just, I mean, yeah, dude, I'm very confident it'll be, I mean, I won't say a cakewalk, but I mean, I feel confident that I'll be able to at least hold my own and swim with the sharks for
Dude,
at least the first 5 minutes,
yeah, yeah.
get
It
somebody, interested in that kind of thing.
Yeah, and honestly, this is, I think, if we just spend the time, I really do think of just approaching this differently instead of just dialing and trying to annoy people. Like that whole thing changes the whole element of just like, having a whole approach to like beginning to end and being like, this is
Mm,
exactly why I'm calling you. This is the progression of this and
yeah.
that. It's not bad. It really isn't bad. Like this whole
Yeah.
industry it's should be way easier.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's kind of fun. It's like fishing. It's
Yeah.
fun. You're talking with
You
people.
just go out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a beer.
Just
But
yeah.
yeah. No, dude,
Um
yeah. And I think that's honestly, those are probably the best salesmen are the ones who just think of it probably more as like conversing with people and just chatting. And I mean, I can see why it'd be tough if you're kind of deviating too much from the line, the straight line method. But I'd like to think anyways that just being able to have good conversation with people is a good start to being able to lead
did,
them to making a purchasing decision or something. Like,
did I ever tell you about the dude that I trained with that was kind of dumb but did
yeah,
really well?
thought he had ADHD medicine, but it was
No, thought he
HIV
had
medicine
no,
or
thought he
whatever.
had AIDS medicine, but he
Oh,
had
right.
ADD.
Yeah. Yeah.
It, um
Yeah.
Yeah, that gentleman. So here's the thing, and I think I told you, and actually, I think I was just talking with somebody else who they actually get lead credit for talk time.
Hmm.
That's one of the things too. Just he literally, and I mean, he talked forever, and this was in person, but it is. It's honestly one of those things. Like this is so simple. I mean, I think
Yeah.
it could be done in 10 or 15 minutes. At the same time, you can just talk and talk and talk to Aunt Sally and fall into a policy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's and
Yeah.
and there's really like a million ways of doing it, I think. And
Yeah.
some people are a hard no, some of them are a hard yes, and some of them are like, let me, eh.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but it is kind of fun to get out there and try.
Yeah, no, exactly. Dude, and I mean, and it's like you're not just talking about end of life or some of these other more traditional, I guess, policies or methods of selling to like the whole thing with the sports teams, dudes. It's like, hey, just book an appointment with me. We both know why we're both here. But at the end of this, you're going to get $20 for your kid's team. Who knows what you want to buy at the end of it? But it's like it takes a little bit of that like weird salesy element out of it. It's like just book an appointment, show up to it, you get the $20. Everyone gets better. They get Sorel insurance on their jersey or whatever, like workout or the small business, whatever, dude. I mean, I'm super excited to dive in more into that offer and um figure that out.
Yeah. And
Because
that's
dude, I think that'd be super easy.
I think yeah, dude, I think so too. And I am very excited to try to go to prospect those types of leads.
Yeah.
Where it's like, listen, you know why we're here. And not only that,
Yeah.
you already got
You have a
educational
student.
content. You have a
Yeah.
student, but at first too, because that's the other thing too, is I just want to start prospecting, but I already have some of these videos recorded where we can just send people.
Mm,
Not only that, I have ads and videos where we could run any of these agents. If you want to be running your own ads, you can run your own ads.
mm,
Um,
hmm.
but um, but yeah, yeah, it's a whole wild west out there. And dude, I'm
Yeah.
stoked to finally jump into it.
Yeah.
Um,
Dude.
yeah, I am excited to be kind of at the helm of it. I definitely want to find some time to do this myself, but I do want to. My effort is making you guys successful. Because the other thing too, if I can get you guys making like 10 grand a month, pretty lickety split, dude.
You'll be making even more. I would love to
I don't
make
even
that. I
know,
don't
man.
care how much you'd be making if I'm making 10
Yeah,
grand a month. So,
yeah,
I mean, that
and
would
I
be
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually not, I don't even care like the money, but if in a reasonable period of time, three people that have never done this before can figure out a way to get
Right.
to that point, and we
Just for the case
like
study. Right.
just for the case study and for like the documentation, because that's the other thing too, is I would love,
Recording the
I
meetings.
would,
Yeah.
and actually I think this one might actually be a good one
Number
to
one.
start with. This could
Yeah.
be, because I've already talked about the whole fucking thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like where I wanted to. This is kind of the unofficial. Oh, by the way, this is what's happening because you are one of, you make up 33% of the workforce.
True. Yeah.
um.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I would just I'm gonna reach out to David. And I guess I got to
Perfect.
start, I just got to get started going on this. I wanted to see all of you at least had the training, so there was at least something you
Yeah.
could dive into. Um,
Yeah. And no, I'm definitely down to go through it like together, or at least even parts of it together, however you want to do it.
yeah, I'm
Um,
once I get off here, I'm gonna reach out to him. I want to go that this is what I am doing now. Like I edited a
yeah.
bunch of shorts yesterday. I do need to fucking we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Just if somehow this gets on the back burner as far as names or descriptions, yell at
Hmm.
me a day or two before because I can jump over and get this done
Okay.
in an hour or
I do
two.
have like a good week's worth of content, even posting 3 a day, like if not more,
Okay,
like
no,
probably 10
good.
days.
Okay.
So you've got
Okay.
a good amount of time.
Okay. Well then, okay, good.
But I will,
Then
yeah, for sure.
good because I am getting pulled, it's this is the hard
Yeah.
part for me is where to spend my time. And right now I want to specifically too, is it's really important. I think one of the most important things is to get agents to make money ASAP.
Yeah.
Like because it might be a
That's the
little
whole
bit
point.
different because I don't expect any of you to be spending money on leads right away.
Hmm.
So the expectations might be a little different, but
No, I mean, I would, if possible, I mean, dude, I would much
it
rather spend money on ads than leads if possible. Like just learn how to fish right away rather than
yeah,
going and buying
and
fish from the
that's
market.
good.
Like,
Good, because
yeah,
because that's what I mean by like don't be
yeah,
if you
for
don't need to
sure.
spend your money on $200 on insurance that you don't need to. That
Yeah.
could be some ads that that do pay
Yeah.
anyway.
And as far as
Um,
that goes, do you know what I need to do or what needs to be done then to be able to make sure I'm actually getting contracted with these places?
so that's on me. I'm talking with Matt. It's some of
Okay,
the,
cool.
I have to come up with commission levels.
Oh,
Um,
gotcha.
I have
Okay.
to decide all that. I don't even know what my commission levels are. This is like one of these aspects where I was like, oh,
Agency building
dude,
101,
yeah, no,
or
I
not
know.
101, but
Not,
it's
I,
probably like
yeah, it's,
301.
that's yeah. So I was like, oh yeah. And I've got to do that for Ben too. And I was like,
It's like I
cause,
just wanted to
cause,
have a bakery. I didn't know
dude,
I had to source my wheat
bro,
from fucking
and
10
this
different
was
things.
yeah, this
Yeah.
was like the other kind of fun thing. And it was fun talking with David the very
Hmm.
first time, which was the new guy, because I was definitely like in sales mode, even though, I was like my ugly baby MVP of an agency that I wasn't even really planning on doing an agency other than 12 hours prior. I literally
Hmm.
had that conversation with Matthew, and he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, here's a guy. You're gonna get a call from him." And I was like, "All right," but
Damn.
yeah. So I just told him, he's like, "So what are your commission levels?" And I was like, "I don't know."
Commission what?
Yeah,
What did you
dude,
call it?
no, I was like, "Great question.
You're
I don't
like,
know."
yes.
Yeah,
The
dude.
answer is
And I was
yes.
like, and I even just straight told him, I was like, I can tell you they're not going to be the highest. Like, they're not going to be FFL because I'm going to put a
Yeah.
ton of effort and resources into this. And I have a lot of plans. And with the giveaways and all of these things, I was like, I could just tell you right now, they're not going to be the highest. But what I will tell you, and that was just kind of the fun part of it. And the sales is like, listen, I don't know
Yeah.
about this, but let me tell you about this. And it was what I'm here to do
Yeah.
is figure out how to like benefit agents as best as possible. You don't have any commitments. There are other ways that you can get different probably commissions outside of this if you want.
Yeah.
I'm totally open to that. And my whole thing, if you do well in all of this and you don't think compensation's fair, I'm happy to have that conversation because I'm trying to
Yeah.
figure this out well. And if you work hard, it's my incentive to keep you here,
Right. Yeah.
and I've said over and over, it's like my whole thing is like I believe in capitalism. If I can't do the best job, then you should go somewhere else.
Right. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, free market. I mean, that's the
Yeah,
point.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm trying, so I
If
guess
your
that was enough.
employees quit, it's not their fault,
Dude,
or
yeah, for sure. And it's like, hey, and I got to figure all this out. And it's like, I don't really know. I don't have that figured out yet. And it's kind of
yeah,
nice to be able to say that. And that's even true, so say thing of life insurance of like, hey, I don't know, but I can figure it out. These are the
yeah,
intentions.
yeah,
This is what I'm trying to do.
yeah. And I mean, I'm sure uh people are going to be a lot more receptive to that than coming up with an answer or whatever.
I think,
Trying
that's
to.
yeah,
Dude. All right. Well, dude, I'm stoked. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but it's also
yeah,
cool to see that the thing with James went well, or that you met with James.
yeah, I
You
know
said
that
something
was,
about it.
dude, yeah, no, that was great. Yeah, that comment on Facebook was awesome.
Yeah.
If that's what you're referring to.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah, and I need to reach out to him again. But that was very, I mean, from my perspective, of just a very cool thing to have gone
Mm.
through the whole process as a whole. Because honestly, at first I was like, okay, one, it took longer than I thought, and two, I thought I was going to put an hour or two in here. The whole thing was 2 hours, and I'm going to put in
Mm.
another probably hour or two into organizing and synthesizing.
Mm.
But when I was done, I was like, dude, and I even stopped him a few times. I was like, I don't know if you recognize how valuable what we are doing right now is. Like, we are
Mm.
taking such massive chunks and huge steps in your business of like defining your avatar,
Dude,
defining your goals. What are your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? How are you doing marketing? How are you? It was so cool to
it's just the
kind of,
fundamentals, dude. I mean, dude,
yeah,
it's like that same thing as like even Rogueware or these other places, like places that, had never even thought about some of these things as business owners. They're like, oh, we didn't even know a point of sale system was or like, just these little things. And he is somebody in particular that like I know once he gets understands the rules to the game, he knows how to play really well. Like that's just the type of person that he is. And I mean, I think he kind of the other thing is he's just a very, very honest person. And so like on social media, like that post that he made, like I, originally thought business was done, and very logical and all these things. And I was like, dude, I totally get it. Because no one wants to be told like this is how you have to do things, and you can't work in as a human being. You have to disregard emotions, and you have to be very hyper. But that was the reason that I was excited to have you in particular talk to him, because you're coming from a very different place from business, but you're still able to bring some of those just basic expertise, but also just good sense about how to do business well. That doesn't have to be rejective of like the human side of it, but it's also just like, no, this is just like a best practice, or these are just things to consider, or had you thought about doing this, or I don't know, some of these other things. So glad to see that it helped him out a little
yeah.
bit
Yeah, we
as
haven't even
well.
got to the recommendations yet, but it was fun. Some of these things he's
Damn.
like, yeah, because at the end he was like, yeah, I never really thought about it like this. And at first he started and he was like, I kind of, have had, just kind of a low emotion or a rough kind of emotional day and whatnot. And trying to come in here with an open mind. But even,
Mm.
through, he's like, oh, I'd never really, and one thing that was really exciting, and this is what I just love about it, kind of right off the bat, and this is what was really fun about, and here's my other one for the a gal that I just helped. But starting with kind of the whole entrepreneurial coaching and like, what are you trying to get out of this,
Yeah.
and being able to explain to him, he had never heard the term lifestyle business, and I don't know, and he's like, no, I
Oh,
haven't
really?
heard. So okay, and that's such that's such an
Maybe I've
amazing
heard
thing
it
to
from
me.
you, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely not out there in the ether. Like I'm not hearing people talk about that, I feel like
Okay, yeah, and that's such an amazing thing to me because that's one of those things where it's just like, okay, totally,
a no-brainer
unaware.
to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was able to explain it to him and just being like, hey, for me, yeah, you can make any business. You can grow it 100 million different ways, but it's more important to do this. And I was just like, so let's just start. What are you trying to get from? And I was like, okay, so would it be fair? Like, do you know what a lifestyle business is? He's like, not really. I was like, okay, well, this is the explanation. Do you think that fits your model? And he's like, yeah, yes,
Wow.
absolutely. And
Wow.
at the end of it, he was like, it was just great to even he mentioned a few things. of just like, great. But, I love being able to do that. Be like, yo, okay, great. This is the whole, before we even get to the business, do you want to go
Right.
down this road or do you want to go down this road? Because it
Yeah.
changes
Everything
everything.
afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Damn. And it sounds like the type of business he wants is the type that's more catered to his time and freeing up his,
mhm.
like, I mean,
Yeah.
go figure. People want time.
I know, yeah, which is also
Uh,
really fun to talk with these people and just being like, I'm sitting here, especially the gal I just talked with,
mhm.
and just being like,
Yeah.
it's like, yes, you are my people. Like these thoughts,
Yeah.
just I love hearing the echoes
The
of,
confirmation.
yeah. I even actually sent this gal, her name's Kate. I helped her. She's a content creator who's she's just kind of starting out and she's trying to do a trip to Mexico. That is kind of how I started talking to her. Because
Mm.
she's doing a Day of the Dead trip and I was like, shit.
Mm.
I that was on my bucket list. Anyway,
Mm. Dude, you recorded those then, I'm assuming, right? Like these
I didn't
conversations
do
with James or
James's, which I
okay.
felt kind of I didn't have a good time to ask at first. I did record this
Oh, for
other
sure.
gal's.
Okay.
Um yeah, I'm kind of in that process now of and then I just had another random gal who reached out to me that just started a conversation a few weeks ago and she just reached out to me today. She's like, I've been looking at some of your videos. You should do a podcast. And I was
You're
like,
like, well, I
well,
do have one here.
yeah.
At least started.
Yeah. But talking with this girl, it was
Wow.
crazy. Some of the things that she was saying, and I just had this fat grin on my face. I was like, I literally just posted a video like 2 days ago
That
that
said that.
was almost like word for word what you were saying. So that's
Dude.
also super exciting for me, being like,
Yeah.
okay, this is a thing. Like, yep.
Yeah. Dude, that's so fucking cool. Well, dude, let me know
Yeah,
whenever if you ever need help at any point as far as the content side of that stuff. I mean, I'm sure that'll be the next some of those recordings will be the next bits of things you get to chop up, dude. Because I feel like, I mean, I do see, of course, like Hermosi, everybody says you do when you're trying to build a business, sometimes it's hard to focus on one thing at a time. So I would echo the same advice in this case with where you're at. But dude, just the whole thing of the business slash lifestyle coaching consulting, dude, like that is just such a natural gift of yours or natural thing, whatever. Like you'd be foolish not to pursue that more in depth at some point, at some juncture. Obviously, you're doing it in these little steps right now with people, friends and family type stuff. But um, yeah,
dude.
dude, that
Well, and here's the thing to run with that and or a but and or and but or something like this. So I very much agree with you and I love doing that. And here's the thing I'm really excited about too is I think I can not in the exact same way, but in a
mm,
lot of it, I can do this with the agency.
right.
That's kind of the whole
Yeah.
point. And so, and obviously different and more structured because it's like, hey, hopefully your ideal life fits into this thing that I've got. But
Right.
that is, and I definitely do. I love the passion of helping other people.
Yeah.
But even on that very similar ticket, with content too, is it's like I want to do that with the agents where
Right.
it's like, listen, we do have this avenue to get there, but like, how do you want to get there? What are your
Yeah.
priorities? Because once we just get over this hill, because the whole point of this is like, hey, we got to get this mechanism figured out, and then you can do kind of whatever the fuck, like, do you want to
Yeah.
recruit people? Do you want to take time off? Do you just want to maintain? Do you want to explode? What do you want? You
Yeah.
now have the tools. You now have the tools to be able to grab the dials of your life's income and your time and control it
Yes.
how you want.
Right. And
Um,
that's the essence of like the translation of I feel like what's really valuable you're getting to people like James or whoever. And obviously, yeah, I think with the agency it's going to be the most prevalent, but like even just being able to enlighten people that like, hey, I'm just here to give you the tools or the guidance or the framework or the just show you what the paths are and just let you know you have the power to kind of choose and like, okay, you want to go down this path with this kind of lifestyle at this point in your life. This is what it's going to take and this is what it looks like. Or, if you want to have more free time and, less work for now, this is what it looks like. Like, I just think people at least being enlightened to that level would be just such good content and so needed for a lot of people.
well, I mean, dude. I mean, I'm happy.
I'm
You're kind
first
of my,
case
yeah,
example. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say, I mean, you're my content dude at this point.
Yeah.
So, the more that we can add to it, I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy to
Yeah.
throw as much on as we
Just
can.
record it at least. Yeah, for
I
sure.
am. No, I know. I am recording them for sure because I do that I'm very excited about what that endeavor could look like.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like that could be the form of payment or whatever, at least for now, even with some of these people, like,
Mhm.
is it cool if I record this? Like just making content is kind of how I get compensated or whatever,
Yep. No, that's
Um,
exactly and not just that with this girl that was making content because I have a lot of ideas and she's
mm,
talking about long form. I was like,
mhm.
you should also just post this video.
Yeah.
Or like chop this up. I could chop some of these up. Like you had some zingers in here.
Mm,
Like I would you might want to consider posting some of these. You'll get some eyeballs.
yeah.
Or even the fact she's like describing her trip and it's so fun to just kind of see the passion and the way she's like, I just know that it's going to be such an amazing thing and this and that. I was like, and there's your marketing, like, and that right there, like
Yeah.
that was incredible.
Yeah.
um
Damn. Wow. Is that
uh
what her business is around, is doing these trips or doing guided tours or
she's
something, or
trying to figure that out, so she's like a kind of
mm,
a travel
agent or
no she's trying to be she's a travel content creator,
mm,
and she basically quit last year to try to go full time to try
mm.
to do this and to monetize. She has been an expat and traveled for the last 12 years.
What is that?
And
I've
an
never heard of that.
expat, it's when you don't live in the country. And so
Wow.
and
Like you don't have citizenship.
expatriation is not being a patriot. So you're, and I don't know if that's what she used that term. So I don't
Oh,
really know
okay.
all the
Gotcha.
details. But
Sure.
she's teaching in traveled for like 12 years, and she decided that she's going to try to pursue this full time. She has a lot of irons in the fire. It's actually kind of
Sure.
funny. The other thing that I love about consulting is being able to see people that have even here and there some of my same similarities and being like, oh, that's what it looks like from this side.
And dude, I was just gonna say you had that same video that was like it's cheaper to travel to travel. I just posted it today than living in the US full time. And I'm like, that sounds like exactly what she probably decided, or at least is aligned with
Did,
what she feels.
yeah. And it was, and but at the same time too, she's like, I have so many things in the fire, like she's got an ebook and she's got this other travel guide and this and that and the other. It's like, oh, I can relate. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
so I don't remember exactly the point that I was working with that one, but
Just the business consulting in general too.
yeah, yeah. Oh, and just some of the stuff, the content and that,
Mm.
that she was making. And I was like, listen, I have a lot of biases in here, but this is great content.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the things that you're saying right here, like they're so natural and like people can so fucking absolutely reminisce with this, not reminisce, resonate, excuse me, with
Mhm.
what you're saying here. And it's exciting. I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah. Dude, all right. I mean, yeah, stoked for all of it then.
Yeah.
We
So
will convene tomorrow if it works for you, or whenever
yeah,
this next meeting with David you want to
let's do
do.
it. I'll text him right now. Although shit, that's the other thing.
Yeah, it's 10 p.m.
Yeah.
I
Fuck.
mean, yeah,
I mean,
not to,
yeah, he could turn. I mean, it's not, he's like our age, I think so.
yeah,
Um,
just make it less formal. Be like, just let me know when you get this or something.
oh
But
yeah, no, I'm not too concerned about it. I'm just trying to figure out. No, that's fine. Yeah, tomorrow. My days are basically I mean, you know what I'm trying to. I'm editing
yeah,
videos and I'm coming up with training. And that's
yeah,
basically those are the only two things right now.
yeah,
And so I would like to meet tomorrow and we'll just kind of have to figure out whatever scheduling, obviously I want to get together and meet together and I
yeah,
don't know whatever frequency is going to work for everybody.
right. Yeah,
But um
that's the figuring out.
that's the
That's,
figuring out.
yeah,
Um but okay, man, I think that's all I got.
for sure.
Yeah, we will chat tomorrow and probably we'll just chat tomorrow. I'm not even gonna
Yeah,
say anything about that. So
for
okay.
sure.
Thank you for your time, dude. Always appreciated.
Yeah, man. Sounds good. Yeah,
All right.
likewise. We'll chat soon.
Sounds good, dude. Talk to you tomorrow.
Peace.
Peace.